Hi everyone, and welcome back to another BTLO Replay. This week we're going to be jumping into the IR Lab Hooked, but before that, be sure to follow us on X, LinkedIn, or join the Discord server to keep in touch with the BTLO community. All the links are in the description box below. Alright, so like I said, we're going to be jumping into Hooked today, which is an incident response investigation, difficulty hard. I'm going to kick off the investigation here, and then we'll come back and read the scenario. You just received a contract from a small team at a startup company. They have a blog, and recently people started complaining that their social media accounts were being hijacked. No doubt it's not a coincidence that these people visited the blog in the last 10 days. They took down the blog immediately to prevent possible future attacks. During the initial meeting, a representative from the company stated, "We started a blog about a month ago. We were a small team and did not have any financial backers yet. This is why we had not hired anyone to look after the security of the blog and to save some money. Also, our developers write pretty secure code. The attackers permanently removed the website access logs before we could retrieve them. I know it's our fault for not enabling proper logging and monitoring, but we still need your help. Can you find what happened?" So, access logs would have helped us a lot. We would have seen a lot of the interaction with the users or visitors from the site interacting with the website. Could get a lot of quick wins that way. That's a bit unfortunate. There might be some other log sources that we could look into. Access logs are generally what you look at with blogs. There's multiple methods that we're looking at here. If they've got onto the web server, they've likely found a method to get the initial foothold. So it could be through like a file upload, or there could be a way to exploit the login, or there could also be like a remote file inclusion, or they could have used a local file inclusion to maybe look at password files. And then if they had SSH open, there's lots of different ways that we are going to try and tackle this. The exploitation framework the attacker is using, that could be a lot. Hopefully we see something that points to that. That could range from like Metasploit. There's a few like particular like tools that just target blogs. Do they say? They don't say what type of blog it is. There's like some, I think like Python or PowerShell scripts that target things like WordPress specifically. We'll get to that. Which web application file is the entry point for the attacker? Probably gonna have to look through a lot of files for that. The attacker likely left a mechanism to connect to the server and execute code. Okay, IP address. Okay, so we look in a few common places for that. Name all the root users. We just need to look at the SE password file for that. There's a new root user. Escalate privileges. We can look at common pathways for that. The victim company had no proper logging. Shows pass history was not disabled. Yep. So again, we'll read a couple of blogs on that one. Can you crack the account password for the attacker's account? Right. So that might take a little while. That's okay. Time to replicate the malicious activity. Yeah, there's a website we can use online for that one. All right. So I think this should be up now. Sweet. So it looks like this is the box that got hit. So I'm probably going to skip question 1 for now, and let's have a look at the web files. Let me change some of the preferences first. Edit. Colors. Yep. Oh, custom font. Here we go. This is what I wanted. And then select. Okay. That's good. So this a little bit smaller. Let me fit the questions in. All right. So we're in a Linux box. Let's have a look. I feel like that's a bit too big. My apologies. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Let's make it 20 maybe. Select. Close. That's a little bit better. home Ubuntu. Okay, I want to switch to the root directory. And then home directory. Did I switch? No. cd/. That's what I want. I switched to the current directory that I was in. So what we want to look for, so the home directory is where our users are. One of the questions was how many root users there are. So we could go list the home directory. There's only home on this one. So does that mean, it could just be non-interactive users, which means they won't have a home directory if they haven't logged in. What we want to go look for is the web directory, which I think is in, if we look in the var, yeah, so var www, yeah, this is where the web server is normally hosted. So if we go and change into here, and we can look at the directory. Okay, so we've got a few pages. Index.html will likely be the homepage, and then PHP might be doing something. We want to start having a look at this. Let's have an exploded view of just the first layer of files in here. Okay, do I have sudo proofs? Yeah, I do. Okay, so I can look at everything. So going back up just to the top, for the index.html and the PHP file, the .md files are just like read files. There's some other directories in here, some JS code, CSS. So this will be the web page formatting. There's an index file in here. It's quite small. We can have a look at that. It's a PHP file for like a database connect. There's an SQL file. Another index file. Set post requests. There's a lot of files here that, so the HTML index file, I'll probably look at the first one, and then what I want to dive into next is like all of these PHP files. And then, because I hate JavaScript, I will probably look at those last. Yeah, this will just be a method of going through each one, having a look at them. Users like this admin PHP could have a problem. The login, logout could have a problem. Likely the login, if it was anything. Okay, so lots to look through before I feel like we get a point on the board. So let me look in this first one again, CK editor. And I need to do sudo. Right, so there's, let's check adapter. Yeah, directory, why isn't that? DPP. Okay, another JS file. So this language one's probably nothing as well. Bunch of JS files again. No, it looks pretty standard. Let's go back. I think the CSS one was fine. This should be a pretty standard file with an index. I did say I wanted to check the index file out first, so let's have a look at that in the main directory. Okay. We'll check out the HTML and then we'll check out the PHP. And then we will probably skip the other index files. So this is a whole bunch of like CSS formatting. That's all fine. So if you're not familiar, HTML and CSS is like how web pages are rendered and how, so a division, so this page, this site will have definitions for section headers. So if you're making a section header, you can reference it and it treats them all the same in terms of padding. So what the padding is like, there's like everything in CSS is a rectangle. So you arrange those rectangles around the page. So the padding is in pixels here. There's a few other methods you could use. Setting a background color. So this is the hex RGB color. It does font size. You'll see percentage a lot. Sometimes they use it in padding as well. It's percentage on. It's really good for like different size screens when you do percentage because it'll balance out the screen. Obviously, that breaks if you go from like a 24-inch to a 49-inch ultra wide, and someone opens up the web page for the full thing. It'll just look gross. I'm just looking for anything that looks malicious or looks non-standard. I'm actually not expecting it to be in the HTML page, but what I could also be looking for is if the authors of the web page, because they said that they write their own code, they've left comments in here, and potentially, especially when there's like dev builds, they'll leave like API keys or passwords, and which web application file is the entry point could mean that it's just asking like where were the creds left in the file, like which file had the dev creds. There's actually companies that I've spoke to that literally does this. They scan like, because a lot of websites are backed up or hosted on GitHub. I think it was, so I did an interview once with GitGuardian, and there's a few other companies that do it, but yeah, they literally, like as a service that you can pay for, they'll go and scan GitHub repositories, but then they also put out like yearly reports on just passwords and API keys that they found, because developing takes a lot of time and you make mistakes, and there's programs that will check for you. They're like, hey, this looks like, it's like a little Clippy thing. For anyone that's old enough to know what Clippy is, the little paperclip from Microsoft Office that used to tap the screen and be like, hey, do you need help with this? It reminds me of that. Okay, so this PHP file, so it's good. We know that the web server is running PHP. So the exploit framework would need to be able to exploit PHP, I'm assuming. What we're looking for here, it's just doing a whole bunch of variable assignments. Oh, we could focus on these first. What I might do next. So what we're going to do. All right, what we're going to do next, I think is it PHP exec? And then I think, do they have command? It might be, oh. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a few assumptions. The first being, why did that, sorry. Oh wait, because I need to make this full screen. All right, so the first being that I think the pathway in is a PHP file. In PHP, you can run a function called exec, and it's like the function name, and then you put your command in the brackets. The other one is system, So what we're going to do is we're going to do a grep search starting from this directory, and we're going to grep deep into all the directories under this one, being the parent that we're looking from. And we're going to look for exec open bracket and see all the files that have them, and then we're going to focus on those files. And then if we don't find anything that looks weird or can't get an answer, we'll do it again, but we'll do it with system. And then look at all the files again. And then if we can't get that, then we'll try and come up with another hypothesis, so that what I'm trying to avoid is literally scrolling through all of these files, because that'll take a very long time and it'll be a very boring video to do. So let's go. My apologies, I'm typing not in the box. Sudo grep. I always do Rails. Let's have a look and see what those options are. So I need tac help to show the manual. So R is recursive, so it'll recurse through the directories. A is a text search, which it's just going to treat binary files like text. So it's kind of like strings. It's not going to try and like parse, especially for like binary files have a lot of like characters that turn up, and then they have a lot of rubbish binary data in between. And I don't want it to try and match on any of that. I just want it to match text within the files. I is case insensitivity, I think. Yeah, ignore case. So sometimes attackers like to obfuscate very basically, but by doing like, instead of writing exec or lowercase, they'll go like little case e, capital X, little case EC. And that used to foil a lot of people looking for stuff, but I is always a good one to put on when you're searching in general and you don't know whether it follows a pattern. L, I think L is display just the header. Print only names of files with selected lines. Yeah, so it's only going to show me, it's going to, because normally if you just run grep without this, it'll show you like everything that it's looking through, but I don't care if it doesn't get a hit. I only want to see the files that match the pattern that I'm trying to match. And then S is no messages. So it's going to suppress my error messages. And I learned about this. So when I learned grep, this is grep on Rails. It's just an easy way to remember it. We're going to give it the pattern that we want it to match. So we want it to match exec. I'm putting the quotes because that kind of alleviates special characters if the open bracket was one. And then the dot. So I want to start from this directory. And then because we've got the R, we're going to recursively search all files. Okay, so looks like JS also implements the exec function. I'm only interested in PHP files at this stage. I guess that's the next hypothesis that we'll come back to, is we'll go into the JavaScript files after that. Generally, PHP is more vulnerable from what I've seen in terms of web servers, so that's kind of why I'm not diving into it at the moment. And again, I really dislike JavaScript. Okay, so we have two files. We have a dev instance and an include. So this include is likely in production and working. The dev is not usually included in your production unless you've messed up your configuration. So I'm going to look at the production one first. I'm not going to go try and look for configuration. If I don't find anything in here, then we'll have a look at dev as well. So let's go less. I needed to probably include the whole thing, but include, and then frame. Let's say multiple frame post. My tab autocomplete is not working. It's very frustrating. Permission denied, that was why. Okay, so it includes this. That's okay. PHP echo post PHP ID echo ID. I'm looking for. So I'm looking for the exec function. It's not finding it. Oh, I think that's because star exec. Oh, okay. I feel like the search is just not working. I needed something. Kind of want to read this. PHP echo truncate div. Let's go back to the start. I am just going to make this smaller for a little bit because I want to be able to read the lines in a row without it breaking. So apologies for this small one. I will change it back after this. Yeah, this will be a little bit easier to read. So what have we got here? We got the title. We got the footer. The time. Okay, so yeah, this is interesting here. For dev use only, do not push this to production, but it's in a production file. PHP if asset request equals dev. Echo pre dev request dev. Oh, it wasn't exec that I was looking for, it was system. That's right. System$dev. Right. So what this is doing, so system will run the command on the web server system. So the web server runs on just like a Linux machine, which is what we're on now. The system function will, unless you put restrictions around it, will run as in the context of the user for the web server, which is usually for Linux, www-data is the name of the user. So this system command, if an external user can run a command through this, it will run in the context of that www-data user. Now, it's saying if the request contains dev, which is like a keyword, then it's running the dev value, whatever that is. Oh, and the dev value is this request dev. Okay. So it was probably for system admins to troubleshoot remotely, maybe to check system health or something, and they haven't removed it. So let me change the size back before we continue. I think we're on 20, select. Okay, and let me make this size again. So the question was just which web application file is the entry point for the attacker? So I think we have the answer because there was only 2 files and they were both the same file. So let's copy this. And question 2. Looks like I can't copy out. So question 2, I'll just type it out, frame_post.php. Sweet. Okay. So that's the answer for this one. They left some dev code in there. So the attacker likely left a mechanism to connect to the server and execute the code. What is the IP address and port of the attacker controlled server? This mechanism is not a vulnerability in the web application. Okay, so we don't have to look at any of these files. We can kind of ignore this. Let's go back to the root directory. Let's look at, so as soon as I get on a system, so they've got on when I normally pen test, the first thing I run is sudo tac L to try and see what permissions different binaries have. So this is as my user, but then I also have the super user. So I could look at the, I think it's the sudo doers file. Yeah. So this will give me root. So root has all. You say run sudo. Data. User bin t. So this user can run sudo with this binary and not have to provide a password. That's what this is saying, which I think was actually one of the other questions. Name the user's victim and no proper logging set up. No, okay, surprising that's not one of the questions. So they would have got www data and then use this t command to then exploit the server. So actually it's this question. What a new root user, that must be the attacker. How did the attacker manage to add in users? So question 5, they would have utilized this binary to, it would have been the easiest way. And if you look up like Linux lol bins, T is one of those binaries that can be exploited to create a user. Okay, so while we're on a roll here, let's go back to 4 and look at the Etsy password file, because this will give us the root users for the box. And it's not a command. I want to have a look at it. So we've got root. That makes sense. Just from experience, a lot of these things are all standard. If we look at the www data one, it's not a root user at all. Who else? Nobody. System network standard, system resolved, syslog message bus. Normally the users that are added are down the bottom. So we see here, we actually have the user password included in here, and they're part of the root group. So that's these letters here. You could look up Linux password file to see the structure of these. What else we're looking for is any other users. So we can see here the Ubuntu user that we have. We already know that it's not part of the root group, and none of the rest are. So that's how we get that one. So this should be root and user. Awesome. So we still need to get 3. We still need to get the framework name. There are no proper logging bash history, but no commands were found. This shows that the bash history was not disabled, but the attacker's log. What would the attacker type in the terminal if they want to get information about the current user and evade command line logging? So the command they would have used is who am I on a Linux machine. Evade command line logging. Okay. Can you crack the account password of the attacker's account? So that's that one. So if we copy this, we can paste it here. Copy, quit. Do we have hashcat on this machine? Do we have, I'm just going to quit out for a sec. Does this have, oh, John, we have John the Ripper. Okay. So John, okay. So sudo John TACH. Created root.john. What? User sbin. So sbin is just the binaries where the and then option H. Does it help? Or if I just run John, so that spit out a help manual? There we go. I always forget because I don't use like these very often. Rules external password files. So what we want to do, John to crack Linux password. Let's give this a try. Crack station. Oh, I reckon I can't copy this password out. Where was it? Oh, because I left it. So if I go back to full screen. This file, I want to go down to users. All right, give me a sec. I'm just going to take this to another page and then we'll see if I can crack this in Crackstation. User, might need to remove some of that, but AYE EMIGN 14 IBQ F4 YV NF 4N1. Tell Crackstation I am not a robot. Click on a whole bunch of bicycles. Bring this back. Crack hashes. Unknown hash format. If I do this. I already told you I'm not a robot. Unrecognized format. Did I copy that across? All right, at least I have it out now though. AEY EMIGN 14IBQ F4Y VN F4YVN F4N1. Okay, so that's correct. Crack Linux passwords. John install John, blah, 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 help. Oh, that's weird. TACH, it's meant to be TACH. Format, we use the format flag to specify the hash type of the single flag. Single format raw. So I need to put the password into a text file, it looks like. And then, John output DB. I have access to the shadow file, so I can just do that. Let's try that. Sudo do I need to user sbin and shadow? Or is that? Yeah, okay. So Etsy password, Etsy shadow. It shouldn't really matter because the password's stored in the password file. But let's follow the bouncing ball. Output DB. Where am I sitting? I'm sitting in the root directory. So let's cd to my home directory. Okay, and then output db should be in here. Yep. And then let's go sudo user sbin and then John, and then we just want to feed it the output db file. I'll do 2 password hashes with 2 different salts. Give you almost any other key for status. Okay, press another key, but didn't get any status. So let's keep on. While we're waiting for that, just going to go back and read the blog. I don't really care about the zip. Okay, it looks pretty straightforward. I'm gonna have a look at this one. How's it going? I don't know. It's still going. Maybe we might let that keep going while we push on with some other questions. So give me the life story. I just want to tells you how to install it. Great. Just give me examples. That's what I want. Zip hash text format zip. Yeah, they just run Johnny as the shadow file in that one. Okay. Oh, here we go. We got a hit. That's good. So the user was what we wanted, and we got a hit. So I can stop this. I don't really care about anything else. So cracked plain text password. PASWRD. I always feel like a hacker when I do this because I rarely use these tools. Mechanism. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's look at, we don't have, there's no user on the system. There's no interactive data user. And we know so far that they haven't touched the Ubuntu user. So that only leaves us, we know that they were root. And they probably likely wanted persistence to come back as root. So let's change into the C root directory. So this is for the root user. What? Command not found. Let's cd into the root directory. Will this let me go? Permission denied, yeah. Why? All right, sudo cd command not found. Directory. I want to get into the root directory. Okay. Let's just have a look at the root directory. We'll need sudo. Right. So there's actually not that much in there. Could have had keys to SSH. If we go home, go less, and then authorize keys. Oh, tab autocomplete is still not working. Authorize keys, so painful. There's no TAC L option for let. Oh, okay. That's cool. Looks like to be with the root user. Okay. Let me just try that again without the TAC AL, because that was from the LS. No. Okay, so there was nothing immediately that stood out there. Profile local. Join directories there. We could have a look in the bash RC. So this is just a file. There's a lot of like user configuration that gets put in this file. So let's have a look in here. Here's file size. A lot of this looks quite standard, which is fine. Force color. That's fine. Color prompt, blah, blah, blah. None of those aliases look weird. Alias definitions. That's fine. Active profile. Which question is this? This is question 3. All right, so there's nothing there. Let's have a look at the Ubuntu user. Let's check out the SSH keys again. We check out the bash logout and the bash RC. Yeah, let's go into the .ssh. This one, and then authorize keys. Test KPA. Oh, we're looking for an IP port. Okay, so SSH keys wouldn't really work. Let's check out the bash logout. Nothing in there. Let's check out the bash RC. Bash RC, use file, pretty standard again. Here we go. Color prompt. It's using Z shell. And I reckon this is it. So 128.66.122.33 and then 1337. So 1337, if you're not familiar, that's like leet speak. So it's meant to be like LEET, which is leet. Yeah, and that's our answer. Okay, so what do we have left? We have the framework. We just did 3. Victim company and no proper logging. I don't know if they want to get information. The format. So what if I go, who am I? Oh. I don't think that's not very common. Hiding Linux commands with quotes. Let's have a look at this. So it looks like command line strips the quotes for attackers. So normally they'd push it to dev null, which they were doing with their kind of backdoor into the system. If you want to leave quotes in, you have to escape the character because it's a special character. So in Linux, does using double quotes avoid logging? Actually, we might be able to just test this. So let's go history. So we can see history. And if I type, let's go first. So let's go prim working directory. So it'll print that. So command 68 should be pwd. Then let's go, who am I? Who am I not found? Ah. Okay. I just can't type. So I wonder if the errors. Yep. I'm an idiot. Who am I? Who am I? And I spelled that correctly. Ubuntu. And now let's have a look at history. So it's still showing up. Do I need spaces in between? Or maybe I need to escape them? Who am I command not found? Who am I? Is it not the victim had no proper logging set up, but they did monitor bash history, but no commands were found? Let's have a look. So hiding from bash history. How to hide. Let's have a look at these two. History is written as normal. Kill the bash process ID. We want something that they've done. So we know that they just ran the command without it. Editing the bash history file. Put a space before the command. I wonder if they did that. Let's have a go at that. Oh, I wasn't clicked on the screen. All right, so let's cleanse the palette a little bit. Let's chuck in 3 print working directories. Let's take a look at the history file again. Oh, okay, so it doubles up. Who am I? Ooh, okay. So I put the space and it didn't save my up history, which is what the history file is for. Then right, okay. So I think what it actually wanted, and this is the problem with the answer assistance. Wrong answer. Oh, wait. And who am I? Who am I? Does it just want who am I? It's just giving me a wrong answer now because I've already answered it. All right. So to cover off, I think what it wanted was it wanted quotation marks, who am I, quotation marks. And that should be correct. So the platform itself will accept answers sometimes if you're like off by a little bit, and I think it statistically tries to do that. So just because we answered who am I with the quotes, it accepted that. So yeah, what we're seeing is, so who am I gives you the answer. God damn it, and I just like cannot type correctly. Who am I gives you the correct answer, and we'll put it here. But then if we put like a print working directory, so we see that the last command that we did was print working directory. The one before that was who am I. But now if I do a space, who am I, it still gives me the output. But if I go up, it's print working directory because it's not logging that to bash history. And then even if I look at history with a space, we can see that the last command there. So the method that they used to hide is they put a space and then type the command. So this is the correct answer in the format that they wanted it. I just didn't do it correct the first time. And the blog there that I was looking at for this one was DigiNinja, something about security, and I'd search for hiding bash history. So hopefully that helps. Right, what else do we have? We have the framework, which I still haven't got around to, and the malicious one. So I know of a website that already does this, which is this one. And we just need the details. So the username is hooked. The password is, I can't tell you. I'm just going to copy that so I don't mess it up because my typing is bad. MD5 salt is usually the username. Actually, what we could do to confirm this, right? So we could go sudo less. Oh, I haven't clicked on the screen. Sudo less Etsy password. We know that this user, where is it? This user. Oh, I need to scroll down. Yeah. All right. So we want to create this user to replicate it. And because we already have the password, right? It was PASSW0RD. So that's what we're going to do. And then confirm that we can create the same string. So then we can replicate on ours. Des salt. I don't think we need this. And then this is user. So one user. So I've got the crack station still up where I had that hash before. And it was $1 user, $AEYEMI GN14IBQ F4YVN F4N1. Yep. So yeah, this is correct. So now if we go, I can't tell you, which is what I had saved on my clipboard, and then the user was hooked. I'm going to calculate that. So this should be the string. So we're going to copy that, come back here, and this would be in it. Ah, wait. I think it wants, does it want another root user? Yeah, add another root user. So I'm just going to copy out what is in, because it wants it added to the Etsy password in the same way. So I'm copying out that stuff. So home, hooked, and then bin bash. Yeah, okay. So I just need the stuff on the end. Sweet. So last question we have, what exploitation framework is the attacker utilizing? This is very typical for me. I always kind of come back to the first question last. Let's have a look. So web server PHP exploit framework. PHP exploit. Problem with these old labs, you need to look at when they were made. So first blood was 885 days ago. How long was 885 days ago? So what I do is this. So it was released probably, if someone solved it on the same day, maybe not. So May 1st or 2nd, 2021. And then what we can do is like look at when, so like this release was on 2020. I mean, I haven't seen anything that points exactly to it, so I'm kind of just going to guess. Metasploit? No. Let's try PHP exploit. Let's make sure I'm spelling these correctly as well. PHP farm, PHP exploit Board framework unserialized. I could try like directory traversal tools that might exploit beef. Okay, this is a tough one. So beef didn't even come up. So beef framework, browser exploitation framework is what I was going for there. So I mean, this should do. What do I want to look at? Let's go to their GitHub. Yeah, pen testing tool that focuses on the web browser. I didn't like that question. Maybe if I was a pen tester, I mean, there was no direct evidence that we looked at to indicate that that was the case. Maybe if, before we finish up, let's go see, because we kind of didn't look at the logs at all, did we? We kind of just dove in and found the vulnerability. So I don't think there was no logs in here. Where am I now? I want to be in bar, and then cd into log. Let's have a look in here. There's some auth logs. IOCs for beef framework in weblogs. That wasn't very helpful. This is probably a good research project for anyone that's playing this lab. And feel free to DM me on Discord if they do find it in terms of evidence. I have a feeling it'll be in here somewhere, maybe in the auth logs. What are they got rid of the during the investigation. They took down the plug immediately. Where did I read what? Permanently remove the access logs. Yeah, so there's no access logs, which would normally be in here. So I've just deleted them. Potentially could be in the auth logs or in one of the other ones. Maybe the syslog. But yeah, if you do find it, please DM me. It's a bit of a research project to go and find what IOC's beef drops to lead to this question. Could be a bit of a rabbit hole. Maybe it was just at the time beef was really big and the author of this lab wanted to highlight it. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully this has been helpful. I prepare for these labs and then always still learn something new as I'm doing them. And it's really enjoyable to share this with everyone that watches these. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to never miss a video. In the meantime, remember to join us on Discord and tune in every Friday at 6 PM BST for BTLO Replay. Thanks everyone, and I'll catch you all next time.